Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Checking it hard.
And if you're ready for Rockin' Pod Expo 2018, then you are ready for this episode of Discography Discussion.
There you go.
I am Joe, that is Dan, and I will do that louder much later in the day.
Sounds good to me.
We are live
Yeah, and we are just sitting here
at the Nashville Palace
watching everybody set up.
because we got here early.
We got here early. We set up all of our stuff. It took like, 6.5 hours? No, it took like an hour.
We ran our own power.
We did. That was fun. Lots of duct tape. And this is great, man. I just love watching these vinyl sellers set all their shit up, and I can't wait to go through all of it.
I'm definitely not going to have enough time to go through the vinyl, but if it's anything like last year, you're definitely going to leave with $500 worth of vinyl.
I don't have that much money on me, so
exactly.
if I can wheel and deal, yeah, it's like, hey man, free advertisement on this podcast for this Slayer LP. But yeah, it's it's lively, man. There's so many people here anyway already.
We've already got people walking up to us, introducing themselves, so it's nice to meet people.
Josh Toomey's here. He's hungover. And
what did you expect?
Great. Yeah, Buddy's going to be here in a little bit. I know he said he's on his way. He might get jumped by security, which will be hilarious. If we just hear a loud, Hadouken from the other room, we'll know what happened. But yeah, man, we're just ready to see where the day takes us. And could not be more excited to be here. Joshua Toomey is here. Scott Bowling is here. Roach Coach is not here yet.
I am disappointed in Matt Naas.
That's okay. I think they said they had to go out and save new metal or something like that. I don't.
Well, that's their day job.
I wasn't really paying attention, but that's apparently what they're out doing. So
they're setting up a perimeter to make sure Prowler doesn't get in the building.
Ah, perfect. Well, we will have Prowler on the show here a little bit later. So
also an exclusive interview with Charles Manchin.
Absolutely. And if we have time, Lauren, Matt, and Jenny.
Yeah, I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, probably. Well, we'll get into all that a little bit later, and we will be cutting in and out pretty much throughout this entire event, so there should be a lot of action-packed stuff for you to check out.
The tape will be rolling.
Yes, it will. All the vinyl, dude.
Well, first of all, let me correct you on that. I have vinyl, but a lot of it's props. So I actually get them burned onto this foam that looks like a vinyl. So that's a big misunderstanding, because a lot of people say, where'd you get all these vinyls from? But some of them I do have on vinyl, and some of them are just props that look like vinyl. So I've kind of gotten...
Well, because I was watching, the first one I watched was the Sonny from POD.
Yes.
And to see you pull out that Snuff the Punk, was that a real vinyl?
I believe so. I think that was a vinyl, yeah. I had most of his vinyls.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of took him by surprise a little bit.
Yeah, that blew my... Yeah, because he stopped for a second, was like... Where the hell did you get that? He had this look on his face like, I don't even have this. Right. And
he was a super nice guy too.
Yeah. But no, I really like the idea of the video interview.
Yes.
So much more than even what a lot of podcasts do, because I don't me and John were struggling when we were describing it on the podcast is well, it's not really a podcast, but we don't want to say it's a webcast, because that's a derogatory term.
Right.
So I don't know, would you consider yourself a webcast or a YouTube channel? Or?
That's a good question. I always just say it's like a web show maybe, but yeah, a YouTube channel. Maybe by the end of the day I'll figure out a good title for it.
Right. The premier YouTube interview channel.
Hey Dan, who are we talking to?
We're talking to Scott Bowling from Good Company with Bowling.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
thanks for letting me be on here, man. This is cool.
Yeah, man, it's really exciting. We came out here were you here last year?
I was not here last year.
Yeah,
and this is Toomey.
Yeah. We know all about that guy.
Discography discussion.
Yeah.
Are we discussing Scott Bowling's discography?
Not exactly.
More like his vinyl collection that we just found out is not a real collection.
We just found out that half of the vinyl collection isn't actually real vinyl.
Yeah.
I already knew that.
Yeah, well, I'm not in the inner circle, so.
I just found out yesterday, so.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Way to beat Josh Toomey.
Well, no, we were just talking about how when he was talking to Sonny from POD, he pulls out this Snuff the Punk vinyl, and Sonny stops for a second. It's like, where the hell did you get that from?
But continue on, fellas.
Thank you, Tim.
All right.
We have his blessing now.
We'll have plenty of time for him later. But
Yeah, Timmy's the man.
Right? Yeah, he is.
So how long you guys been doing your podcast for?
About 2 years.
Just about.
Yeah. We so basically what we do is we just talk about bands' discographies. That's why we were like, because that's what I liked about your show is how you'll just kind of start at the beginning and go.
Oh, thank you.
Go further on, and that's like just like what we do.
Oh, cool.
Except we don't usually have the artist sitting there with us. You know,
a little less awkward, if you know what I mean.
Occasionally we do. I mean, we had Rob Rivera from Nonpoint went through.
Oh, I had Elias. That's cool.
Yeah. He went through his whole discography with us, which was
really?
a lot of fun.
So do you ever have artists that have like a ton of albums, and you're like, do we really have to go through 14 solo albums right now?
Yeah, we do though.
Do you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right now we're going through Napalm Death.
Oh,
And
cool.
so that's
prep
about
for that.
15 albums total.
Yeah, we gave ourselves
Wow.
2 weeks to prep for that
Oh,
one.
you do? So like
Yeah.
every day you're sitting there. That's what I do. I really prep. Like, listen.
Yeah, we cram them like big time, and it can be really tough. You know, like when you've got like an Iron Maiden or a Megadeth or something like that. We got a lot of those really difficult ones out of the way pretty early on.
Oh, cool.
But
And so do you guys have other podcasts, or is it just because I know you do? You said you did the other one with John.
I do co-host with John.
Oh, cool.
That was pretty recent though. Like before that, all I did was discography discussion.
Oh, okay, cool.
And mainly that was just because, like I said, when we were adverting your podcast or your show, was that like I'm not very good at interviewing people.
Okay.
So like a lot of the times I watch your show and I listen to Toomey and even listen to John to try to get better at interviewing
Oh no,
people.
that's a huge compliment because I'm learning with each episode. You know, it's there's not really a place to go. It's not like a school. You just kind of you get inspired and
Right.
like you said, watch other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's pretty much what we do. Like I'm trying to cut my teeth because I'm not even on a lot of John's interviews because like he'll call me in the middle of the day and be like, "Hey, I want to talk to so-and-so," and I'm like, I'm at work, man. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
So you go at work, you just go in the bathroom and set up all your gear and say, "Okay,
Yeah.
I got 10 minutes."
Right, and he's done that. Like I've heard him before. He's like, "Yeah, I did this one on my lunch break."
Wow.
And I was like, "Damn, that's like I consider myself to be pretty dedicated." But whenever I hooked up with John, it was like, "Oh my God, this dude's like on a whole different level of hustle." You know?
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been doing it for about 2 years, and it's been a lot of fun. Like we really run the gamut from like really brutal stuff to like, you know, kind of the more classic, like the Black Sabbath and, you know, Judas Priest and that sort of stuff.
Right.
You can say Ghost. It's okay.
I'm not going to say Ghost, but yeah, no, like that's one of the I became aware of Good Company with you know, through Toomey's podcast, and I was like, oh man, I love seeing the artists' reactions. Like that's my favorite part of it. Is like,
cool. Thank you.
As stupid as it is, just seeing them stop and think. Because like normally, whenever we do interviews, it's all through Skype, and sometimes they're not on video, so we don't really get to see that type of interaction. You know, where they will sit there and actually think of a really good response, or you know.
I like. It's funny. You talking about reactions? I love their reactions too, and I actually got to be on. Not Rich Ward, Chris Jericho's podcast.
Oh,
He hasn't
yeah.
released it yet, but the funny thing is I brought all my props with me to interview him, and he looked at me like a little crazy. I'd like, you know, this is a podcast. They're not gonna be able to see this, and I go, yeah, but I like for you to like.
I'm a
look at
video
the
guy,
vinyls
man.
and
I got to be
see-
visual with this,
And it
right?
worked out great. Like when we're interviewing him, he's flipping stuff over and like, oh wow, I love that song, you know. So that worked out really good.
How hard is it to schedule the interviews? Because I know that's one thing that's like really tough for us, even on Skype.
That's a great question. It's I do my interviews on Wednesdays. I have 2 kids, a wife and 2 kids. So Wednesdays they have school, church, everything. So we that's when I do it when they're gone. That's the biggest
Right.
problem because I can work around artists because they can give me. I'll say pick any Wednesday, any month. Just let me know, and then it's just really the wife and kids I got to work around. So and I try to schedule them pretty far out, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool.
I guess it's just like based on when they're in town, you know, like that sort
Yeah,
of.
so we've had people like passing through. I had Rich Ward that's from Atlanta. So that's nice when they're in the area.
Yeah, that's usually pretty helpful. But no, man, yeah, we just wanted to pull you on because you know we're
You're the man.
big fans.
This is great. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
I feel
it's
like
really
there's
cool.
an audience, but there's not an audience for us.
I know,
Like,
right?
hey, thank you.
It's so weird because like whenever we record, like this guy's like a total, like anal retentive audio engineer, kind of like.
Oh,
and
well,
so
you
it's-
need one of those. That's great.
Yeah, he's doing a really great job of like not freaking out at all the background noise and and all of that. But
It's not my fault this time.
what do you think? What do you think of the expo so far?
dude, this is awesome. I love it. I wish I went last year too. So I'm like, why didn't I go last year? This is so awesome. It's kind of a bummer about the head not being here, but it's understandable.
Circumstances, understanding, right?
Yeah, I was a little bummed out about that as well because like I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday out of town to get this big job done so that I could be off on Friday and Saturday so I could come down and do this. And I got the news from like I just got done lifting like a 200-pound like garage door panel.
Wow.
And those things are brutal, man. They'll like really they'll tear you up like and as soon as I got done with that, I like put it down and I was like, oh, I got a notification on my phone. It's all like head no longer appearing at Rock and Pod Expo, and I was like, oh shit, it's got to be because of the Jonathan Davis wife situation, and like I was like, man, that's a totally good reason to not be here, but like it sucks, you know. Because like for a podcast like ours, it's hard to pull artists like that, you know, and it was a huge bummer for us. But I mean, the amount of podcasts and people like yourself that we're big fans of are all here, so it's still a really cool opportunity, you know.
I'm thinking like next year I want to bring, I don't talk about him enough, but Nathan Mowry, who actually films my show and his crew. Yeah. Nathan films all the Fozzy stuff. He does a lot of videos, documentaries. I definitely want to bring him next year because people always talk about my show, but it's like he's the machine behind it. He's the guy putting it all together for me, and he does a great job.
Dan, I don't think I'm getting enough credit.
Yeah,
anymore.
and that's kind of how I feel about Joe here. He makes it all happen. Me and Buddy just show up and talk. That's our only. That's really our only thing. Yeah. And a lot of the times it's just like my opinions about the album. So like I don't have to like I prep up so I know what I'm talking about. But it's one of those like. Not having to really be accountable to anything is really easy on my side of it, and then I show up as being the host and like take all the credit, but like but the reality is like all those behind the scenes guys are really what drives what we all do.
Yeah, definitely.
And but no, it's cool. Yeah, definitely bring him out next time, man.
Cool, man. I will, man.
It'll be cool to see him, and
Yeah, I think you'll like this a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, man, thanks for doing the interview with us.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Awesome.
There will be many beers and many conversations.
That's what you need. You need a fourth guy on your show to get you beer. So, hey, go give me a beer.
Well, we brought our own beer because we're out of St. Louis, so I wanted to make sure I had my own St. Louis beer.
That's some like dark beer.
Yeah, dude.
The IPA.
If you like IPA, I'll give you one of those Elysians, man. It's my shit. I drink those every show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You can tell, especially after 3 or 4 hours talking about
Yeah,
In Flames.
man, we were talking about, what was it? We were talking about In Flames.
Oh, my gosh, the In Flames discussion.
But, like, they had so many albums. It was like,
oh, yeah?
I got about halfway through, and you could tell I'd had, like, 3 or 4 of these, because they're, like, 8% each. You could tell like, you can't slam those like you can slam at PBRs and stuff,
Right.
So it caught up with me pretty quickly.
Do you ever get them mixed up ever at all? Where you just, have somebody ever corrected you?
Oh, yeah. This guy.
Okay.
Correct. Well, actually, it's funny. When I was on John's podcast, we talked with a guy named Adam Morgan who plays drums for the band Hope's Fall, and him and I got into like a flat-out argument about like what record label released the vinyl version of their first record.
It's like, you realize this was my band.
Yeah,
right?
he's like, yeah, but you know what though? It turned out that I was right. So that is what it is. But
too funny.
Yeah. But yeah, man, no, really cool. Can't wait to chat off mic a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely.
And, should be good, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
All right, I got my beer. I got my vinyl.
6 hours later, Dan returns from the vinyl table.
Yeah, wasn't that long. Like 5.5 easily. So the first one I got was Acrobatic Tenement by At the Drive-In, which is one of my favorite albums. Super indie, emo, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's good. And it's on red vinyl.
I saw some Roots in there, Sepultura.
It's all you meatheads care about.
Well, as we were digging through there, Dan was commenting about whether he was going to find something awesome like At the Drive-In or not, just name dropping it. And then he just so happens to find it.
Yeah, it's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. It works.
If you believe it's true, it will happen.
Right. I don't think I have to explain anything about Roots. I mean, it's Roots. It's
bloody Roots.
Yeah. This Hell Awaits one was actually the most expensive.
You son of a bitch.
How much you pay for that?
It's interesting. So these are marked. So Acrobatic Tenement was $20. Roots was 22 and Hella Waits was 30.
Okay.
Total of $72.
Woo.
I paid 60.
Hey, there you go.
Yep.
So you got 40 more bucks for another couple vinyls at least, or one, depending on what you find.
Or one really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that, man.
Oh, that looks
That
pristine.
blood stain is nice. There's going to be a picture of that on Twitter.
There, yeah, let's get a picture of that. That is some pristine vinyl.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have paid money for it if it was all scratched up. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's not even been played.
This is the last Hella Waits that exists. Yes, it's scratched. No, it doesn't play. All right, here, take my money.
No, if it doesn't play, I don't give a shit.
It's worthless.
Yeah.
Not bad, dude. That looks badass.
Oh, yeah, dude. So this is the actual sleeve that it goes in. But
Oh, they have it out of the sleeve so you can see the artwork.
yeah, and then you got all the,
Oh, hey, there you go. Lyrics.
my vinyl copy of Ghost Thief is completely clear, so I mean, you could lose that if you weren't paying attention. It's like crystal clear. But if you lose it, Bruce Fitzhugh kills you.
While it's fresh in my mind, I want to say thank you real quick to Muses and Stuff, as well as Tramps Like Us. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it. What cassette did you pick up there, Dan?
Oh, I picked up Human Sacrifice by Vengeance.
You mean Vengeance Rising, right?
No, I mean Vengeance. You know, the band used to be called Vengeance, and then there was some other band named Vengeance that was probably some shitty 80s band. And they changed the name to Vengeance Rising.
So is that
this
an original?
is an original.
Suck on that, Steven Sorrow from Unteachers.
I'm pretty sure Steven has it. That dude's got all kinds of neat shit in his collection.
Nice. So I saw you picked up a Lady Gaga vinyl. You want to talk about that too?
No comment. I almost bought Stripers to Hell with the Devil, but then I thought Toomey would make fun of me, so I didn't do it.
You mean he's not going to make fun of you for
He's going to
that?
make fun of me no matter what I do, but I'm just saying.
Have any extra headphones or no?
You can have these if you want
You
them.
can have his, yeah.
Sure.
He's our resident sound engineer, so I mean,
Okay, perfect.
you can tell us later how good he's doing.
Check.
I just realized how bad of an idea this was.
No, man, he's a
Wow.
disciple for sure.
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah. So did you just talk to our buddies over at Roach Coach?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
They're good guys.
They give you a hard time about Third Strike?
No third strike questions.
Oh, good.
All right, so I have a list.
Okay.
You have an hour.
So a little bit of background on us. We typically discuss bands' entire discographies, which we're not going to subject you to that today because I mean time's a finite resource.
It is.
But but no, we're massive Third Strike fans. But I'm gonna let Joe. So I'm Dan. This is Joe. This is Buddy.
Yes, sir.
And
Nice
we
to
have
meet y'all.
with us Toby Wright,
The man, the myth, the legend,
the man, the myth, the
producer.
legend. Yep.
Well, thank you. Here I am.
I can't even tell you how many albums I have in my personal collection that have your name on them. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I paid people to put them on there.
very good.
Just Vistaprint,
For sure.
All right.
print me up a bunch.
Vista Print, man.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Gotta love it.
I'm just kidding.
Gotta love it.
One of my favorite albums is Third Strike,
Okay.
Lost Angel.
Yep.
Didn't know for a long time that you'd produced it.
I didn't.
And I figured that out probably after I got my copy of After We Go by Tantric. And I remember I ran into you last year and I was able to ask you about that. It's interesting to me that a band like Third Strike that wasn't around long enough to do more than one record, they did something that I've heard called kind of mediocre. We've talked to Jared Montague from Taproot. He says you're a bit of a hard ass in the studio, which that's kind of your job when you're trying to get a performance out of somebody.
Yep.
So I guess my first question is, when do you decide you need to motivate the artist when they're not doing what they need to do?
Well, I can feel energy really in my body, really heavily, I guess is the word. And so when that happens and the energy in the room goes down and people aren't performing and they're just kind of moping around, it's time to bring the energy up and get back to that creative level. So, what I typically do is, maybe we go outside. Maybe we, just do another take with a little bit more oomph in it. there's certain things that I look for when we're recording, and that's performance. And we've, typically always been through pre-production. So we all know how the songs are supposed to be arranged, how you're supposed to be playing, etc. And so, then when you get going, if you're not living up to the performance that you did in pre-production, there's something wrong. Okay, well, what is it? And I might pull somebody aside and go, "You all right today, buddy? How's your hand doing? You okay?" So on and so forth. And just try and inspire people to get more creative. And, I know that solo you did in pre-production, that was pretty cool, but whip me out another one. We already got that one. Try another one. And so sometimes people, they'll just go off the beaten path a little bit to get that creativity going. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and just to correct you, I did not produce Third Strike. I just mixed it.
Okay.
Oh.
And I ended up with only half the record. The other half was mixed by Chris Lord-Alge. It went to Chris first. And then Hollywood Records decided, we don't like this. It came to me, and then I mixed it. And then what happened at mastering was, we like half of these, and it ended up actually perfectly in half.
Right. It is truthfully one of my favorite records.
It's a really cool record.
That you put a hand on it, just like, there's another one. And how much of that is your personal taste? Because, when I'm listening to Dan, or if I'm listening to him give a response to somebody's question or give his own opinion, sometimes it's, I just want to be here. But then other times it's, I know you feel stronger about that than what you're saying. So I wonder, when you're producing a band or you're trying to inspire somebody like that, how much of that is you just sitting behind and saying, guys, I'm not interested in what you're doing, try harder?
Rarely. That does happen, every once in a while. But usually when the clock is running and people are in the studio, they're pretty much on point. I would say a good 75 to 80% of the time. And then you get the people who get a little bit comfortable. You know what I mean? And then things start slacking off and creativity goes down, productivity goes down, things like that. So then it's my job to inspire and keep it going and get that creativity and productivity back up.
You're like a manager at that point.
A manager of the song and of the music, And
you missed your calling.
Yeah, clearly. But, to go back to the Jared Montague thing, we had him on a couple months ago.
Right.
And he wrote a book recently called True Rock Stars, which detailed the history of Taproot and all that.
Cool.
And he had mentioned that whenever they were recording their second album, which was Welcome, that he was actually in danger of not getting to play drums on his own album.
That's true.
And I guess I just kind of wanted to see your take on that. And you already confirmed it that it's true. But just what's your take on it? What the how quickly he was able to recover from that.
Very. I think that just. If I remember correctly, the more of the conversations that happened around, well, we might need a better drummer or a different drummer because he's not really coming to the plate with some of the stuff, kind of inspired him to reach inside and say, you know what, F you all. This is my band. I'm going to play on this record.
Right.
And I'm going to be good enough to play on this record. And he did. And hats off definitely to Jared for that because, he's one of my heroes. He fucking just right there,
That was kind of the story he told.
Pardon?
That was kind of the story he told, too, was, I went back and I got my shit together and I came back and we put out what is, to many people, one of the best new metal records ever released.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, he told me, off air that, he would go back to his hotel room and have a full drum set up and be like, okay, well, hopefully I get better enough in enough time to where I can get some sleep tonight. But if not, then whatever,
Right.
And he really brought it on that record, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I was very proud of him. Still am.
Are there any bands that, and you don't have to name names necessarily, but are there any bands that would show up to the studio and you're did you guys write a record prior to coming to the studio, or was it just, did you guys just show up and expect greatness to just flow from your fingertips?
How important is pre-production?
Well, that did happen.
Yeah?
Okay. It's a record called Jar Flies.
Oh, no.
With Alice.
Yeah.
And, they came off the road from the Lollapalooza, and, we went right in the studio, and I asked Jerry Pryor, hey, you got any songs? He's like, yeah, I got some songs. We got to the studio. He says, hey, about those songs, I don't have any.
I have 4 riffs.
And I'm like, so what are we supposed to do for the next 10 days? And he's like, you mind if we jam? I'm like, jam with the best band in the world? Let's rock and roll, kids.
Right.
And so we did. And, 10 days later, we came out with Jar Flies.
Wow. I really did miss your calling, because that's every conversation we had when we were making music.
Yeah, absolutely. We just didn't have any kind of real backing. Yeah, just
Well, that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that you've done? Because I can't think of a Toby Wright produced album that I haven't enjoyed at least a little bit.
Thank you.
And is there any albums that have come out that you felt like you gave a certain amount of really sound advice and just was not followed, or was there ever a time where you felt like, man, I really wish they had listened to me on this?
That always happens.
Yeah.
In one respect or another. It's you never ever are the driving force between for 100% of what ends up on something. You have a band, it's 4 guys, 5 guys, whatever, 10 guys, however many are in the band. Everyone, and there's already usually some songs started, right? So there's vision and there's idea there. And so, I usually chime in and try and arrange things and make instrumentation happen correctly and so on and so forth. And, so it's just, my job is a suggestion, and not more of a dictator.
Right.
Because if it was a dictator, it would say Toby Wright Presents on the top of each record.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't. So I consider myself more of a co-creator and inspirational type of person, to help them get the performances they need.
Is there an album in your career that you've produced that if you had the ability to take all the experience you have now, that you would love to go back and redo, knowing everything that you know now?
Oh, wow. We're going to have to save that question, and I'll think about it. I don't really rightly know. Would I go back and do a couple of things differently on a couple of records here and there? Sure. As you listen to them today. But one of those things is the beauty of magic and spontaneity at the time. You do a certain thing because it is that time and so on and so forth. And so I think that, like I said before, it just kind of, lives in the moment. And you have to, for the time given and the place given, this is the best that we can do, right? And for each recording that you do in a band's career. And you hope that, it lives on and, to become a classic record. I always shoot for that as part of, as the end goal, because that's what I would want as an artist,
Is there anything in the studio you won't do if a band asks? The easy one to pick on is auto-tune. Is there something that if a band walks in and says, I want to do this and I want you to mix it this way, is there a cutoff where you say, no, I'm not going to do that?
Depends what it is. If the singer is that bad that he needs auto-tune, are we really supposed to be here?
When this guy walks up to me and he says, well, I think it sounds just fine if I do it this way, I say, you need to stop cupping the mic.
And he has to trust you and you have to trust him. Right. And that's a big thing in the studio is trust. Right, so I'm sitting behind the console and I'm listening through a pair of speakers, and we have a singer per se, who's trying to cup the mic like this or whatever, and out in the studio I'm like, hey dude, back off a little bit so we can get a nice air between you guys. Okay. If he doesn't want to do that because he thinks that it sounds better, then I have to somehow prove that it doesn't. Right? So you record him doing theirs. And the next thing you know, come on in, let's listen to that. And get to the verse, and he goes, and what the hell was that?
Right.
That was you cupping the mic. Oh, shit. Can I do it again? Because I won't do that next time. Okay, you got it.
Perfect. Yeah. There's a reason why the band that Joe and I were in never crossed your desk. It's because there was a lot of that. I mean, I fought for years of being like, we don't need a producer. We don't need, all this shit, And we actually talked to somebody recently that, was like, yeah, man, they just get in your way and they this and that and this and that. And then that band's not selling even anywhere close to,
That's right. The worst thing that can happen is that you don't ask for help outside.
Right.
Okay. So as musicians, and I'm a musician myself, and I ask for help outside, because if I create it, I play it, it might not be the best thing that I think it is. Right. And so I'd like somebody else, your opinion, and let me know what's going on. You know what I mean? As far as what your musical taste might be.
Right.
So, I think that for all those bands out there that are listening, have some help, and make it somebody that's, a professional in the industry, and not your brother, your mom, your dad, somebody that doesn't, that has only your best interest at heart and is going to say, dude, you're the best ever. You don't want that. You don't want a yes person in your life.
Nope.
You want somebody that's going to be fair, but also hard on you as far as, is that a good song or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
After listening to you talk multiple times previous and meeting you last year and talking to you now, I think I know the answer. But my question is there one thing you wish everybody would do that's not being done before they decide to make a record? I think the answer is pre-production.
That's
Get
correct.
everything together before you come in here and spend your time, my time, and everybody else's money.
And somebody else's money.
The answer is pre-production. And in lieu of pre-production, how about a little bit more studio time and a little less messing around? You know what I mean? Because a lot of those bands that you're talking about have the holy smoke, we're in the studio vibe, and they just screw around and they waste time, and all of a sudden it's over and they're not done yet. It's like, I'm not really satisfied with that song, or that song. What do we do? Well, in hindsight, you probably shouldn't have been playing basketball while you should have been practicing your solo.
What were you doing for the last, 3 weeks?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was playing basketball outside.
Right. Nice. Well, we do not want to keep you for sure. I know you've got a lot of podcasts to talk to today, and
got a couple more. Thank you, though.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate your time, and definitely got the few answers that we wanted from somebody that knows what the hell they're talking about.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime.
It's a pleasure meeting you guys, and thank you very much for your time. And I'll leave you my card, and I'd love to see I'd love to listen to the podcast when it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I appreciate
Thank you
it,
very
man.
much, sir.
Enjoy the expo. We'll see you. We'll see you around. We'll be here all day. So.
Yeah, excellent.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we just got done talking to famed record producer Toby Wright. Super cool guy, really open and honest about every answer he gave us. And, yeah, man, got to talk a lot of cool stuff about Taproot, a little bit about Third Strike, a little bit about just his methods, the way he does things and the way he approaches his job. And I can tell you right now, sitting here, that, there's not a lot of albums that I've enjoyed out there that haven't had Toby Wright's hands on it. So it was cool to get to shake hands, talk about his approach, talk about, the way he motivates bands, and some of the thoughts that he might have after they leave the studio.
It's interesting talking to him now. It's not malicious what he's doing from his perspective. At least that's the way I interpreted it. It's kind of like a manager at your job. At the end of the day, are they responsible for you executing your job technically correct, or is their responsibility to motivate you to do your job well?
Right. It's one of those like, hey, man, I'm here to help you, but if you're not going to accept my help, I don't know what to tell you. I thought that was really cool what he said about Alice in Chains, the Jar of Flies album. That was one of the few bands that could just come in and fucking write their stuff and as they were going. And obviously, if you've heard Jar of Flies, that was a great fucking release for Alice in Chains. So in that case, I really enjoyed the flexibility there of not just having a strict set of rules to follow necessarily, but it's just to be, kind of a judging by the caliber of the band.
And Joe's a little bit over the moon right now because Toby Wright wore his headphones.
And shook his hand. Joe's literally never going to wash his right hand ever again.
Well, he's definitely not going to wash his head anymore because he put those headphones back on his head.
Absolutely.
And so now he's hoping that the Toby Wright,
I've got
genius
the head
starts
oil
seeping
of a
in through the
glorious
headphones.
bald man right in here right now. I don't even give a shit.
And let's give a hand for Buddy, who has stepped into the shoes of Jeff to fill in while Jeff deals with his issues at home.
Those are some big shoes.
And we appreciate
and tall
Jeff.
pants.
But we are glad to have Buddy here in the moment.
Thanks.
So.
Yeah, I grew up with you guys. It's always fun to be involved in projects with you guys. But, as we were talking earlier, I'll go ahead and put this on record that, me and you, Dan, and Joe, we've grown up together. And a lot of the albums that we want to talk about, we've had the same experience already through.
Absolutely. We'll be Buddy will listen to an album or an episode of Discography Discussion and be like, dude, we had this exact same conversation like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird that your opinion has not changed since then. Like, it's...
So really what we're doing is we're cashing
shit.
in on 12 years of friendship.
Absolutely. But now the masses get to hear it.
Exactly.
They
but
know
yeah,
our
we definitely miss Jeff, and we'll be glad to have him back when he can.
Absolutely.
Because he adds another layer to the discussion. So
An emo layer.
Yes.
Yes.
Sunny Day Real Estate. There you go. I said it, Jeff.
Oh, shit.
Take a drink.
Although I've
drink.
never heard Sunny Day Real Estate.
They're not bad. I got to give Jeff credit in that regard. They're a great band. I can't. I mean, I just bought a Lady Gaga record, so I mean,
It's true.
I'm not really in any position to judge. But I feel like the fact that I bought Lady Gaga and Hell Awaits by Slayer on the same day, that it works out pretty well, in my opinion.
If you could have bought them at the same time, you would have got some really interesting looks, which would have been great.
Absolutely.
As opposed to the looks that you get for wearing a Death t-shirt and buying a Lady Gaga record.
Well, Matt Naas from Roach Coach definitely, sniffed me out. I was walking past, trying to be real nonchalant. I walked right past Lauren, Matt, and Jenny, and Matt's like, I know.
Was it like Invasion of the Pod People, where
it
they're
was
pointing at you going, "Aah!"
It was. He was like, I know what you did. I know about it. It's kind of like in Skyrim whenever you kill somebody and then
the Dark
you're
Brotherhood
walking.
shows up.
Yeah, you're walking around and then a courier walks up to you and hands you a note and it just says "We know" and there's a black spot on the, you're like, oh shit, oh man, oh no.
Man, now all I want to do is play Skyrim.
Now I gotta go kill all these people. All these nice people.
Okay, I don't know when we're going. We're probably already going, but
It's me, so what do you think the answer is?
we are going.
It's whatever you want, dude.
I mean, who the fuck is Michael Butler?
I don't know. I've been wondering that the entire time I've been here.
Is there a way for me to get headphones, or I can bring my own if
You can have Joe's headphones.
Oh, okay.
Hey, and Toby Wright wore those headphones.
And Matt Naas wore those headphones.
Yeah, you're on a whole new level.
This is a whole new level. Hi,
It is.
everybody.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, I'm well. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. We have 3 guests here for you tonight.
Oh, yes. Yes.
We have Mr. Matt Naas of the Roach Coach podcast and of the Matters podcast,
Hey, everybody.
and from the Transmissions from the Dark Side podcast.
That's correct, because I can't stop.
You, sir,
Right.
are multifaceted.
Hey, it inspired me to join another podcast.
Really?
So yeah,
Awesome. Which one?
I co-host John's Untitled podcast with John Beatty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not. Oh, fuck. I've seen promos for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because now it
This
shows
is
up.
the Dan.
yeah.
Because it shows up in my recommended, and my other
Yeah.
people who listen to your podcast listen to
Right.
It's Untitled.
Right. So, yeah, it was cool. We actually talked to Jay Gordon from Orgy last week, which was fun. And yeah,
Holy crap.
yeah, he
Okay.
was picking up his kid from a birthday party and still took the interview. Like, it was the craziest. He's driving in his car. He's like, no, honey, we will in a minute. I'm just talking to these guys. And we're like, dude, if you gotta go, I mean, just say the word. Nobody gets it like I get it.
We have kids.
Right.
Yeah, but no, it's a pleasure to be here. I know that I've been here as part of the Roach Coach.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, for sure. But with us, we also have also has seen. I can't do this with a straight face. Also has seen heard on the Roach Coach podcast is Mr. Prowlor. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I don't know.
Did I trim the bush well enough for you?
You did with the bush. I'll tell you what. Oh, baby. I like it smooth as silk. Hold it. We're talking about bushes, right?
Right. Still talking about bushes, Prowler.
Shrubbery, right?
Well, yes. Well, we appreciate you coming by, Prowler.
Oh, baby.
Did you find the bushes outside of the venue acceptable?
Look, I'm not used to these Tennessee ants.
Right.
They are not the same. They're not as easy to maneuver around. Plus, Jenny Bloomer, she is a meticulous gardener. She's always taking care of her shrubberies.
I did think it was weird when she got out of the car and took out a pair of shears.
Exactly.
Just went at it.
I was like, hey, baby, take it easy.
We asked her, why are you doing that? And she's just like, you trust me, you have no idea. Well, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And
she
just
knows
walked
that
off.
I follow and sleep everywhere she goes.
Right.
Gotta go.
See you later, Prowler. Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Mansion.
Charles Mansion.
So, Charles, you're up and coming.
Yeah, I've been up and coming.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm 15 years old.
Oh, see, I thought you were 16 now.
I don't have no birthday.
Oh. Well, I mean, by that logic, though, I mean, wouldn't you be like, you could be 21, right? And then when you go to the club, they don't check your ID?
I want to be immortal. Yeah. You know,
And Charles.
I'm not like a Highlander. Like, please don't cut my head off to be the one. Please. My dad loves Highlander. He makes me watch The Quickening, which is easily the worst in the series. I mean, I know it. You know it. We know it. Come on. I don't have a hip-hop song about that yet. Charles Mansion.
Charles Mansion, everybody.
Hey,
Bravo.
hit me up on SoundCloud. I am truly, honestly on there, or on YouTube. Unfortunately, if you do search for Charles Mansion, you will find Charles Manson, who is not me. I do not support anything that man has done. Also, there is a Twitter handle for Charles Mansion, which is a band that stopped recording records.
Yeah, I listened to that. I thought, it was this really cool lo-fi thing, and then I found out it was not you.
That is easily not me. I was not that old in 2011. But, I'm working on it. I would like to write songs.
Well, thank you so much, Charles, for taking the time today.
I love being in Nashville. They call it Music City. I'm here looking for beats. Normal places I look for beats. YouTube, and also YouTube. Like, those are the 3 number 1 places for beats for me.
You ever check SoundCloud?
I put my stuff on SoundCloud. I don't put my stuff on YouTube. I like to confuse people with my social media strategy. It's like Odd Future when they all had like 1 million Tumblrs. It's a lot like that. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Please, my album, I've been up for a while, drops soon.
All right. You guys can pick up I've Been Up for a While by Charles Mansion at Best Buy, FYE, Sam Goody,
Virgin.
Harmony House.
Yeah.
Now that's what I call music.
Available on cassette and CD, children.
That's it. We have a reel-to-reel. We have a wax cylinder. It's pretty good. Whoa. Charles just ran.
Charles just went on and on. I think that's the most audio of Charles Mansion that has ever existed.
That is true.
This might be the largest recording of Charles Mansion of all time.
Oh, his dad is yelling at him in front of us.
This is really awkward and embarrassing.
I'm feeling kind of sorry for him now.
It's weird that his dad drove up here too, because I thought that he rode with Prowler. It's weird.
Yeah, baby, I don't ride with kids. Can't do that anymore. All right, I'm out.
Oh my God, yeah. No more voices.
No more voices.
No more voices. The dude is way too tired for that.
Oh my gosh. How was your rockin' pod?
Man, it's going great. I've drank a lot of beer.
hear you there.
I'm sweating profusely.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, I can't help it. It's the fat man's burden. You know?
The fat man's burden is generating extra heat.
Right. I mean, check out my book. I will have the fat man's burden written and released within the next year.
The fat man's burden, the Daniel Terry story.
The Daniel Terry story. Also, check out my pod. Yeah.
Check out my. It's all of that subtitled. Check out my pod.
Also, check out my podcast. Do you like 4-hour podcasts? Then you will love.
You will love.
Right.
Do
Actually,
you like
it's funny.
Every album recovered at once?
We actually, our longest episode is right now, I think, our most downloaded one, which is just crazy because our longest episode is 3 hours and 43 minutes long. And it was on the band As I Lay Dying, which I don't know if you know their whole story.
I heard, so I don't. Let's just be transparent as fuck.
Okay.
I don't know much about them, but I heard that the lead singer got himself into a spot of trouble.
A bit of a spot. I mean, we've all been there. He hired a hitman to try to kill his wife.
Okay, yep.
And Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, the hitman he hired was...
federal agent of sorts?
Yeah, federal agent. And he landed himself in prison for a number of years. He was released from prison relatively early, I think last year. And now the band's back with a new single.
Right, and I saw it. It was awesome.
But before the band was back with a new single, we did that episode on As I Lay Dying. And we talked about it. Like, the last 2 hours were us just being like, well, I don't think I could ever give the band a chance because I know that guy's a piece of shit. We've got a lost profit situation on our hands here, you know? And
the band that we'll never cover.
Right. And then John, my co-host on the other podcast, was like, well, yeah, but I mean, you know, Ike Turner wasn't a saint and people liked him. And I was like, well, that's fair enough. You know, but I was like, it's a little different. He's like, well, Tim Lambesis didn't actually hurt anybody. And I was like, yeah, but, you know, it's a little weird that all that happened. So, like, we went back and forth like that for like 2.5 hours. And then that episode ended up getting so downloaded because, like, nobody had really ever broached the topic. And for the very first time ever in the history of our podcast, what we were talking about was current and newsworthy. Because we started getting messages back and forth like, hey, did you guys hear? I was like, well, we talked about it in this episode. And then they download the episode and we're like, also, fuck you. It's 3.5 hours long.
That's an hour 45 for all of us double speed listeners.
Right. I think you can get through all the albums in like, what, an hour 40? Something like that?
Hour 40, hour 50. I mean, if you listen to double speed, you know you're done in at least 35.
Right. Yeah. How's the pod been for you guys?
I got to say, we got here, so I think, you know, I mean, we're not going to lie. We were very disappointed that Head was not here.
Well, for sure, us too.
And at the same time, how can it be anything but selfish for me to be disappointed by that?
Right.
Like, what happened to Jonathan Davis's wife is tragic. And those are his brothers. That's his family. Like,
right.
You don't fuck with family, period, the end.
Right.
I get it.
There's like nothing you can say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Except, boy, I would have liked to have had that chance to interview him. But, you know, he's still here, and his management company knows that he was going to be at this event. So we're going to give it a couple weeks, and we're going to reach out and say if he has 15 minutes and still wants to talk, we would love to talk to him.
He can either talk to you guys or switch to Geico or, you know, whatever.
15 minutes or less, I swear we will do an interview with him and change his mind about insurance.
Man, that was hard for us, like, because our interviews are always excessively long.
Right.
And so to cram it down into that 15 minutes, like, even with Toby Wright, I mean, I could have talked to Toby Wright, like, from when we started talking to him till right now.
Right.
You know, like, I'm sure he would have been bored with that, but for us, we'd have been good to go, you know. And the 15 minutes is definitely kind of the industry standard for interviews. And I think that's the most challenging thing is, like, trying to get, like, the right questions in the right time frame.
I felt like the back half of the day went better for us. After Toby, it went better for us. Our first couple were a little rough. But I think we learned from them. Because it's like you want to establish rapport and you want to be able... You got to do everything fast. It's like I want to establish rapport to show you that I actually know why you're here.
Right.
And who you are. And then I know your work. Like the Tom Hazard, I mean, he sat down. We said we talk about new metal, and his eyes lit up.
Right.
Because I kind of had that feeling where it's like, oh, cool, I'm not going to have to talk about these other things that I've been talking about in 7 other podcasts. I get to tell some other stories. So I think he was just grateful.
You're like, wow, we struck gold. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, guys.
Looks like they're having a bit of a jam up there now.
Yeah. That is probably the part that's the most unexpected. Like, I think, like, the podcast part has been great.
Yeah.
But, like, the stage part going on, I almost wish they were in a separate room just so they could actually turn it up for them, too.
Right.
So that the people who wanted to hear those could hear those. But I kind of feel like, hey, you know what? The second year, they're figuring it out. This is a well put together event.
Yeah.
Everybody that we've worked with and talked to has been great. So,
well, yeah, we were thrilled when you guys were going to be here because, that I think the hardest part for our podcast, yours included, I think too, a lot of the stuff that people are here to see and talk about aren't really our jam.
Right.
And
well, I went to one of the vendors because I was trying to find something I said I was going to find a
new metal treasure. Yeah.
Right. So I ended up finding a POD shirt and 2 Guitar World magazines. But I went to the guy. I was like, do you have any Slipknot stuff?
Yeah.
He's like, God blessed. All that stuff's at home. I didn't think anybody here would want that stuff. And he was right. I'm like, I told him, like,
yeah, it's a good call.
I'm like, you are right. I am the minority. But boy, I could have used a little Slipknot anything.
I'm going to need an Iowa poster, like, right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, just I don't think that's asking too much that one of the still busiest, most booked, popular metal acts in the world.
Right.
But I wouldn't say they're exact. This isn't necessarily a metal.
Right.
It's not metal and pod. It's rockin' pod, baby.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of rock stuff. I was surprised to find the Gaga record in there. That was probably the coolest thing I found in there.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You snatched that right up.
Yeah. My wife is like super thrilled, but it's not for her. It's for me. So before we try to sell that deception. But no, there was definitely some cool stuff in there. What blows my mind though is some of the records, like you'd be going through them and it's like $15, $20, $30. It's what you expect with vinyl, and then you get one and it's like 124, you know, and you're like, whoa, wait, what?
Well, that Rage Against Machine record's overpriced. I just eBay priced it.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
It's about $25 over.
Okay, well, I will be hitting up eBay later.
Yep.
But no, it's definitely a really cool event, man, and I'm glad you guys had fun. Is this something you would consider doing next year?
You know what? I would either like to do this again or find another venue that does like a series of live events in a row so that each podcast can, that's the hard part, I think, is that we didn't necessarily meet any new fans today.
Right, yeah.
We were in a room with a lot of other podcasters, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's like we got to kind of commiserate, and a couple people came up to us, and I was like, hey, where are you guys from? What do you do? How you guys doing with it? Anybody making any money? No, nobody is perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Moving on, yeah.
Movingon.org. But like that type of thing, I would love to be... Next year, I would love to see the fan contingent be grown a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I do think, just taking a look at this, like there isn't any way for like what we're recording right now, for me to have anybody who is a fan of our show hear this.
Right.
It was a great way for me in our show to connect with people in the industry that I wouldn't normally be able to get on the show easily.
Right. There's that, and it's also like what I like about it is the crossover, like Marvel crossover when, Thor is on a Captain America comic. And that's kind of like what we had tried to do when we had Roach Coach on Discography discussions. Like, I think fans of their show and fans of our show would think that was cool.
There is an overlap.
Yeah, some crossover there. And we've been able to achieve that. But yeah, in an environment like this, it's really just, I've been telling people, it's not like we're going to be giving out 1,000 business cards, but it's kind of like a networking opportunity.
Right. Absolutely. And
like we would meet people. We've already been asked to be on like how many podcasts now? Like just from being here.
3 or 4,
Yeah.
and plus I was on one while you were off getting food.
Yeah,
and vinyl.
I literally went to look through the vinyl, and I come back, and Joe's already been on someone's podcast.
Which is awesome.
Whoa.
And that's the thing is, like, I wouldn't know about this show or that show or this show.
Right.
You know, obviously there's some shows that would never apply to our genre.
Right.
You know, we're not going to do we're not going to do a piss contest, guys.
Yeah.
Or a Kiss podcast. Wee.
Oh, shit.
Take that, Kiss podcasts.
Oh, snap. Careful, dude. We're kind of surrounded. I wouldn't...
They'll straight up murk me.
For sure. I never thought I'd get shanked by a dude in Kiss makeup, but here we are.
I want to rock and roll all night.
Right.
Well, guys, I think I'm taking a look at them and trying to figure out where they're at. So
Yeah, they're looking kind of bored.
I think so. They're like,
all right.
When's Matt going to get... And I'm like, I know that if we get going into another topic, it will be another hour.
You got those guys on Skype. You can talk to those motherfuckers anytime you want. You know, it's like, come on.
But it is great to put everything together and talk face to face.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And your
time.
episode of Matters was like one of the highlights for Matt and me this year, I think.
Really?
We were like,
I appreciate that.
That was a great app. Great app. All right.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks,
and
guys.
We'll cut. We'll probably load up and get out of here. We're pretty quick after.
This has been a discussmetal.com recap of Rockin' Pod Expo 2018. Thank you for listening. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Discuss Metal. Subscribe to our podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts, including Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher. Visit discussmetal.com for all things discography discussion, and please send questions and comments to danandjoeshow@gmail.com. If you are not a patron, you can become one at patreon.com/discussmetal. We have some sweet perks.